In this video, I'm going to show you how to construct a square using Geogebra. First thing, right-click anywhere on the drawing board and hit Axes so that we can remove the X and the Y axis. If this doesn't show up when you do right-click, go to Graphics. And in the Graphics menu, you will see a tab for the X-axis and a tab for the Y-axis. All you have to do is uncheck Show X-axis and uncheck Show Y-axis, and the axis will be removed. So I'm going to remove it by hitting Axes, and there they're gone. To draw a square, I'm going to start with a segment. So go to your segment tool and select segment with a given length, because I want the length of this square to have a length of, let's say, 6. Okay? That segment that Geogebra just drew measures 6, and we can check it by hitting the distance or length tool and touching the segment, and there it says 6. Okay? Now, when we talk about squares, I know it has 4 right angles. So that means that the line that goes on this side is perpendicular to this one here. And the line that goes on this side is also perpendicular to this point. So I'm going to tell Geogebra that I want to construct a perpendicular line. You go to this tool here, perpendicular line, and when you mouse over that tool, it says select point and perpendicular line. So I'm going to tell Geogebra, look, I want to construct a perpendicular line through point A. So I hit the point first, and then I tell it which line is this line that I'm constructing going to be perpendicular to. So it's going to be perpendicular to this segment. And there it is. It has constructed a perpendicular line through point A. I'm going to do the same thing. The perpendicular tool is still activated, so I'll just hit the point through which I want the perpendicular line to pass through, and I want it to be perpendicular to this segment. And there you have your 2 perpendicular lines. Another property of a square is that all the sides are congruent. That means if this segment AB measures 6, I want the segment that goes from A to another point to be equal to 6 also. How do I do that? Well, this is what you can do. You can take the circle tool right here, and when you mouse over the circle, it says select the center point and then a point on a circle. So this is what we're going to do. This is going to be the center of the circle, point A. And when you move you click on A, when you move your cursor, your circle starts to form. Remember, it says to choose the center and to choose a point on the circle. So I'm going to expand this circle all the way till I get to B, and I'm going to click on B. Notice now that segment AB, let me move my graphics view a little bit so that you can see this clearly there. Look at the circle. The circle has a radius of 6. The center point to a point on the outer edge of the circle, that's called a radius. That means this radius is 6. And if you notice A all the way to here to where the circle and the perpendicular line intersect, that is also the radius. So that means that if I choose this point here, that segment has to measure 6, because all radiuses on a circle measure the same amount. So this is what I'm going to do. I need to plot a point right there at the intersection of the circle and the perpendicular line. So I'm going to choose my intersect tool, and I'm going to say to write or to label the intersection between the circle and the perpendicular line, and there it is. It has labeled the intersection of these 2 objects. So far, that means that this segment AD will measure 6 because it is also the radius of the circle, which is 6. Okay? Now the next thing I need to do is construct this segment across all the way to over here, right? So this segment has to be parallel. Parallel to who? To segment AB. So how do I construct a segment that is parallel? You go to your tool here and you click on the drop-down menu and you choose parallel line. And there it is. Now I want a line parallel to this one, so I'm going to click on the segment and automatically you will have a parallel line to that segment. And I'm going to also click when the parallel line joins this intersecting point, I'm going to click on that. And there you have constructed the skeleton. Let's call it. We can call this the skeleton of the square. Why do I call it a skeleton? Because the only segment I've constructed for the square is segment AB. Segment AD does not exist yet. Segment D and this intersecting point doesn't exist yet. And this point to B does not exist yet. These segments I have to do in a little bit. Before I do that, I need a vertex here. I need to find the intersecting point between this perpendicular line and this parallel line. So let's go back to the intersect tool and let's say I want to know the intersection between this line, and Geogebra tells you that's the intersection. So now I'm done constructing my skeleton. Now I'm going to erase or remove all of these guide lines, which are your parallel lines. Your circle is a guide. Your perpendicular lines are also guides. So remember, go to your Move menu and you're going to select Show Hide Object. And then you select all of the objects that you want to remove, and notice that they're highlighted when you click on them. And then you hit the Move cursor here and they disappear. And here's your skeleton. You have segment AB, that's all that exists. So what do I do now to construct your square? Well, you select your segment tool, this one, and you click on A, D, and there you have your segment. And then you click again on DE and you have your other segment, and you click again and you have your last segment. Now all of these sides have to measure 6, so let's go ahead and measure them with the distance tool, distance or length, and you're going to hit on the segment, click, there it is, 6, 6, and 6. And let's move these labels so they're not in the inside of the polygon but on the outside. And they're all outside now. It looks neater. And a neat thing about this is that you can move this square as much as you want and it will not stop being a square of sides 6, okay? So you can move it anywhere you want and the square remains, okay? So there you have the square. Now this is what I want you to do. Once you've constructed this square, I want you to construct the diagonals. I want you to construct the intersection of the diagonals. I want you to find the angle measures, all the corners. I want you to investigate if the diagonals bisect the corner angles or not. I want you to investigate how the diagonals intersect at what angles. Everything we did for the rhombus, I want you to do for the square. I want you to decorate it. I want you to put colors, change the fonts, put a title on it, type on the bottom all the properties that you find for this square. Okay, so have fun. I'll see you in the next video where I'm going to show you how to construct a rectangle.